Looking forward to this one. Scheduled for 4. Thomas Galbraith looking to regroup, reset his career. What does that mean tactically in terms of the way he's going to go about it? Normally he's been back foot boxer. We know that Davies is absolutely fired up for it. He's got Lloyd Honeyghan-esque trunks on tonight, hasn't he? And if he can just produce a little bit of the ragamuffin man punch tonight, then we could have some fireworks.
And he's gone charging at Galbraith a couple of times early on here. He's got that guard pretty tight and he comes in behind it. He can't really see much as he's coming forward. Galbraith is trying to already catch him with that uppercut as he comes in kind of stooped over, head in the bucket as people describe it. And you can see why he's looking for that shot, can't you? Because he does seem made for it.
One thing you notice, Galbraith still boxing with that very low left hand. Well, that was a feature of him prior to the defeat, and that continues tonight. So there is just that potential defensive frailty to be exploited. He's looking to counter and catch Davies on the way in as he burrows forward.
And he did it fairly effectively there with a decent 1-2. Just before that, the heads cracked together on the inside, and this is what we're going to get. Davies is going to dip that head, bring it in low and bring it in quick, and when he gets close enough, let his own hands go. So he needs his feet here, Galbraith. He needs some decent technical boxing skills, which he does possess, because this is what they'll get all night. There is a slight bit of damage around that left eye, I think. But rather than pull back in straight lines, maybe he needs to just step off to the side.
Yeah, there is. Suddenly, there's a big circle of blood. I was just about to say, maybe there's a bit he's a bit too fired up, maybe, Davies. And there is just a little slit on Nick. I think it might be to the left eye. Certainly coming down and around the bottom of the eye. A little circle, a semicircle of blood around the left eye of Galbraith. Whether that was a punch or the head remains to be seen. There certainly was a right hand as he steamed forward in that previous exchange, Davies.
I think maybe it's taken a little bit of time to come to the surface, that blood, because right on the near side to us, about a minute or so ago, you could see him grimace as the heads came together, and he was blinking that exact eye. So I think that's probably when it happened. He's just wiping at it now.
Tell you what, on current form, you wouldn't want to bump into Steve Davies down the Queensway on a Friday or Saturday night on current form. He's absolutely raging, isn't he? And he's making things uncomfortable for Galbraith.
Galbraith did catch him with an uppercut as he was coming in a couple of exchanges ago, just backed up, gave himself room.
And the referee just wants to try and tidy this up a bit.
What you've got basically, as we've seen, is one fighter who head down charges you, and Galbraith is trying to just pull his feet back out and catch him on the way in. He's doing a reasonable job of it at times, but if he can't do it, then they collide, don't they? And Davies's problem is, like you said, I think he's a bit too fired up, but that's better. He let his right hand go there when he was in decent range, because before that, he's just been completely shutting down his own space.
And I think this clash of styles and the way they're trying to connect, you fancy there's a big shot just around the corner.
He stands square there, Galbraith, and just lets Davies come to him and then looks to try and pick him off with those hooks. End of an eventful first round.
Pretty steamy, wasn't it? Pretty steamy. Will some of the fizz go out of Davies' attack? I think if you're in the Galbraith business, Will Jones over there in that corner with the words of encouragement or maybe technical refinement, but I think if you're in the Galbraith team, you're hoping maybe just a bit of that anger and fizz will go out of the work of Davies and things will settle down, give Galbraith the time to maybe operate a little cleaner.
The good quality punching all came from Galbraith in that round, didn't it? So he's won that round. But it's a difficult job, it's an awkward job, and Davies just needs to, for his own good actually, needs to slow things down a bit. Okay, move in behind that tight guard, move in nice and quick, but move your head. And when you get to the right range, just let your hands go, because what he succeeded in doing mainly there was getting on top of his man at times and pushing him back into the ropes, but he didn't really have any room to do any punching. I wonder whether Will Jones for Galbraith has told him, step off to the side every now and again and catch him on the way past.
Yeah, a little bit more lateral movement will make things more difficult for the the front foot charge that Davies is employing right now. One thing we did learn about Galbraith, even in defeat, last time we saw him 10 months ago, is that even when he was hurt, oftentimes in those last couple of rounds in that fight against Eboigbe, is that he showed a fighter's heart. He wanted to fight back, even though ultimately he was beaten and stopped in that one. But he did try to fight back, and he's found a beautiful shot there. It was either a left or a right uppercut, and he's finally managed to time Davies, and he's managed to execute the counter punch against the charge.
He did well to stay up there, Davies, because he was rocked right back onto his heels, but he has just started to step off to the side a little bit in this round, Galbraith, and it's really working for him. And Davies a little bit more considered, which, as we were saying, that's better for him too, rather than running in, which is literally what he's been doing. He's trying to kind of swagger his way in behind that guard.
He picked that shot beautifully, didn't he? Finally found a bit of space. And you fancy maybe as this goes on, there might be a bit more room for Galbraith to find those punches, to create those openings.
That's a decent right hand on the inside there from Davies.
Tom, you concentrate, mate. Please do not switch off.
And one thing Davies is doing, not always effective, not always landing, but he's making this a physical fight, and he's making it uncomfortable.
He is. He was stopped in his tracks there as he came forward, but although he's not steaming in as hard as he was before, he is still coming forward. He's catching shots on the way in, but that heat he's bringing to Galbraith is still there. So Galbraith has got to hit him hard on the way in and stop him, and he's going to have to do it for 4 rounds, I think.
Look for the uppercut again there, Galbraith, didn't he? He caught the chest of the arm, didn't he? He's looked for it again there. That one just slid up the side of the cheek, but he's looking for the counters, and he's chosen the uppercut as his weapon of choice.
Nice right hand into the body there. And that's there for him, I think, almost every time Davies comes forward. He's been looking for that uppercut, as you say. He's been looking for not big singles exclusively, because he's been letting his hands go in combination. But I think he looks at Davies and feels like, as you said, there's a big one in the tank, in the chamber, just ready to go. Whereas actually, the way he fights Davies, you can't just hit him wherever you want, but you can let your hands go, and you can't really miss him, which will just take the edge off his attacks, the effectiveness of his attacks. That was the near knockdown.
There it goes again. And then a couple that didn't land.
Corners!
For sure,
10 seconds.
If there were any doubts mentally on the back of that stoppage defeat last time up, I think he's well on his way to ironing out those creases.
He had a pretty long amateur career. He was telling Ali, I think, at the media day that he'd had over 100 amateur fights, and he's got some backing, hasn't he? You look at the kit, I mentioned Davies's kit, because it's not a standard kit for an away corner fighter, and it showed you how seriously he's taking this. But you look at Galbraith there, and you look at the ring walk, and he's investing a lot in this. He's putting himself out there, isn't he? He wants to go. He wants to really do something in the sport. You can tell.
Yeah, absolutely. A bit like a footballer, whether it's Sunday league or Saturday amateur. You wear the bright boots. You've got to perform. You're there to be called out, called at. I think he's got better as this fight has gone on, Galbraith, hasn't he? Still, there's steam and crackle in the approach, the intensity of Davies. Well, there's a right hand up in the clinch from Davies, again making it uncomfortable, leaning on Galbraith.
Galbraith just made him miss by a distance with a left hook before that, but didn't really come back with anything. It's been a high pace, this fight, right from the very start, because Davies has set that bar high and pretty much kept it there since he has slowed down a bit. But this is tough for Galbraith. It's always hot in here. We always go on about it at York Hall, but it's just a fact. It's always hot in here. And he's being made to work really hard. I think maybe in this round, at times he's been looking to nick a bit of a rest, but he's still landing more than enough.
It's kind of exactly what his team would want, in a sense. I mean, you could have a very, very easy, soft comeback, but straight back into the fire. You know you're in a fight. A reminder of how hard it is, what's ahead, and the right kind of test for him to let him know where he's at.
Davies just needs to keep doing what he's doing, because there are just little signs here that Galbraith is beginning to wilt a bit. I think Enzo Mack can see it in the corner, and you look at him getting on him again there, Davies, and the punches from Galbraith are just a little bit weary at times. The technique is still pretty good.
There's the right hand. There's the right hand, Andy, because that low left lead of Galbraith, it does invite trouble. He missed wildly with the first one, but then a shorter right hand, he didn't manage to connect. There's maybe a left hook there as well. And although he's not necessarily been so effective with the approach, Davies, in the first couple of rounds, he suddenly started to bear fruit in the third, which makes it interesting.
It does. He's lost every round, but if he can just really just foot to the floor, go for it in this final 3 minutes and just not give Galbraith any rest at all, not give him any peace at all, then you just never know, because he did start to wilt a bit in that third round, Galbraith. He's been made to work terrifically hard right from the very, very beginning.
I think you picked up on it, Andy, about how much less there was coming from Galbraith in that round. And just wondering, was he just starting to feel it, the physicality of Davies? For the first time, that approach from Davies started to get him some results. Although it wasn't always eye-catching and noteworthy punches,
Corners, 10 seconds.
I think he might have won the round.
Yeah, it's possible. It's
Seconds
possible.
out. 4.
I felt the better
Final
punches
round.
still came from Galbraith, but there was proper heat there from Davies. And the dynamic of it starts off with a good left hand there.
Yeah, left hook again lands from Davies. At least that left eye of Galbraith, which opened up in the first round, hasn't become more of an issue. They managed to get that under control.
And just before he landed that left hook, Davies, what I was going to say was that in that third round, particularly in the second half, although Davies might not have been landing all that much clean as he came forward, he just looked more like the boss, didn't he? Galbraith was still catching him with some punches, but not with the kind of authority he had been previously. And Davies will sense that, he'll know it. That's a decent uppercut there from Galbraith.
Yeah, do you know what preceded it, Andy? It was a little skip to the side, wasn't it? The thing we were talking about earlier on, maybe a bit more lateral movement with, you know, Davies certainly coming forward and straightforwardly. But there's been heat from Davies all the way through.
There has. Galbraith just standing back, just waiting for him.
Breathe in the clinch. Breathe.
And that was good, because he just got hold of him there, turned him, pushed him back into the ropes, leaned on, filled up his lungs, I think.
It was interesting, actually. The corner were shouting that, weren't they? Breathe in the clinch, they were shouting. Just a little reminder of the kind of things that are going on, even when it seems like there isn't necessarily much going on. That's a good right hand, straight right hand, as Davies came forward to him. Minute to go.
Particularly in these later stages, when he lands anything, Galbraith, just step off. Land that punch, step off. Don't stay there and let Davies barrel into you and push you back into the ropes, because that's just going to take something out of you, potentially.
A deep breath, look across to his corner, Galbraith. 40 seconds to go. Still time to make a breakthrough.
And that's good from Galbraith. Landed the uppercut, then stepped to his right.
A lovely right hand again. It was a short punch. This time more of a hook inside. Is there a little smear of blood from the nose now of Davies, who's forced to miss again, giving it everything. And some of the cleaner work, I think, coming from Galbraith in this final round, maybe just to seal the deal.
Decent right hand to the body there as Davies came forward, and there goes the bell, and he lands the right hand right on the bell. Decent fight, good fight to watch,
and he apologised, despite the mean look and the intensity and the approach. He apologised straight away to Galbraith. Big sorry, mate.
And as you were saying, off the back of a defeat, that's a really good fight to have for Galbraith, because he's won that fight, but he was made to work really, really hard all the way through it.
A reminder to him and to us how tough this business is at whatever level. So mental, so physical. He had to deal with the mental, perhaps, in the weeks and months in the build-up, and he had to deal with the physical on the night.
Because he came to win, didn't he, Davies? He came to win, absolutely he did. If anything, I think in the early stages, he was a bit too gung-ho. He was flying in and didn't really have any control over what he was doing, which made it difficult for Galbraith, but made it very hard for him as well to land anything, because at no point was he ever set. He was just kind of steaming in, and then when he got there too quick, and there was no room left to do anything. It made it very awkward for Galbraith, very, very physical, but it made it hard for himself as well, I think.
I think that's fair.
But you love the attitude, don't you?
Absolutely right. He's still prowling round the ring even after the 4 rounds. And maybe Galbraith can breathe a sigh of relief now as he goes across. Shares a big moment and a smile with Enzo Mack. Plenty of fans come to see Thomas Galbraith tonight. He's clearly sold plenty of tickets, quite a few tricolours up in the balcony, waving. And now he can smile, breathe, as they were saying to him earlier on during the clinch.
Yeah, he can, because he didn't get much opportunity to do it during the course of the fight. 39-37, so 3-1. Davies getting some return from the referee, who's just walked out of the ring past us. You'd imagine that it'll be that 3rd round that you gave to him that the referee probably would have given to him, and good to see him get some change as well, because he put loads into that. But Galbraith won the fight. Davies looked pretty fuming when the decision was announced, but Galbraith won the fight.
Lee Edwards, the referee, one of several British referees at the moment who are sporting spectacular beards.
Strong, isn't it? It's strong.
Victor Loughlin's got a nice one brewing. Steve Gray had a momentous one. I don't know why he shaved it off. Absolute crackerjack. I'm sure Rob Smith is prowling and fuming.
It's a directive from the board.
Yeah, I'm loving it. More beards, please. Anyway, another fine beard about to appear on your screen. Oh, winner, speaking to Ali.
How good is it to be back on a top tier show as well? It's been a while.
Really good, you know what? I respect the Johnny for getting me on. Fucking love these shows. One of the
very, very surprised soon to be Mrs. Galbraith.
Anything is possible at your call, Steve.
Live on DAZN.
Ladies and gentlemen, now it's time for our next round of the